Welcome to Girl Talk. You know, whether it's we're finding the best cup of coffee in town or how to take care of our cars, we're always learning something on this show. Isn't that true?
So true.
That's one thing I love about this job.
Yes.
Very cool stuff. Today, for example, we'll talk with Joe from CONANT. We checked in with him a little earlier this week about what to do with our cars and how to take care of them. I love going to him for all our goofy questions.
Right. Goofy is the right description, I think.
Well, the questions everyone has, I think.
Yeah. But everyone's too afraid to ask.
Right.
I know.
Yeah,
but we're not.
It's going to make me seem
We'll
stupid.
embarrass ourselves
Right.
for the good of the
For the good of the show, for you guys.
You know, if only our cars, you know, now they're starting to drive themselves. Have you heard about that car that's making its way across the U.S. with no driver?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
I haven't
What?
heard that either.
Yeah, it's a driverless car, and it's an Audi that's been outfitted with lasers and radar and something else, some sort of computer chip, so it can navigate all by itself.
I don't have that feature on my Audi.
I know, and actually I find that kind of sad because if I had my dream car, if I had my way, I would have an Audi. And to have one out there that is without a driver, that just seems like a crime against me.
Well, I don't know, you can
I
check
really-
Facebook, do a selfie.
I really
don't know.
hope that they've got a
That's right.
camera taking the expressions of everyone around it.
Well, there is a
Wouldn't you
guy.
be like,
Right, yeah.
No,
What
there's
if it gets pulled over?
Right.
What if this car gets pulled over?
there's someone in it this is a test. They're driving actually from San Francisco to New York, and there's someone sitting there in the driver's seat that the wheel's turning by itself, and
I thought they just like sent it out on its way.
Right.
Me too. Oh my gosh, what if this guy falls asleep? Or girl, what if they fall asleep at the wheel?
it's pretty amazing though.
So can they text then when they're not driving?
Good question.
All
Maybe
of these questions come to mind. All the legal implications,
Yeah.
Janet.
Right.
You've just opened a can of worms.
we just want to know if we can text.
Yeah,
That's
right. That's right. That's right. Well, that's kind of neat. So,
It-
where'd you read about that or hear about that?
Gosh, just saw a news article about it, and it's on its way.
Yeah.
So
Well, you've seen those cars that can like parallel park and do all that.
Sure.
That would be handy.
Everything's
I would,
getting-
I would like that.
We're getting closer to the Jetsons every day, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, if we can cut down on the fender benders, I know that would help me out because I'm a terrible driver. So,
I didn't get any points off on my driving test, but I think I forgot it all when I lived in Hawaii for 3 years and didn't have a car. It was like, all had to come back to me.
Use it or
Yeah.
lose it.
Yeah,
huh?
exactly.
absolutely.
Sure.
Well, the first time I saw the flashing yellow arrow, it really threw me for a loop because I was like, what do I do with this?
Do I stop? Do I go?
Was that not on the test? I don't know.
Not when I took it.
Well, speaking of the
gracious.
great cup of coffee, we're meeting someone new today, Rosie's Coffee Bar and Bakery. I haven't been there, but I looked at their website, and oh my gosh, she has got some really gorgeous looking cakes.
They're amazing.
Fabulous looking stuff.
This woman is amazing, and I'm excited for you guys to talk to her because I love this place now. It's actually not really that far from me, and I had just never been, and recently have totally fallen in love with this place. She's an amazing scratch baker. She is now a coffee barista.
What is a scratch baker?
It means like everything is from scratch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
No
like
cookie dough rolls in
there's
there.
no shortcuts.
Okay.
No shortcuts.
It's not frozen in the back and then they...
Yeah, it's not
Okay,
coming out of a
cool.
box,
Ooh,
you know.
I
But I
like-
mean, there's
yeah.
no shortcuts. She makes everything from scratch, from hand, and
I
these
think
just
they have gluten-free things there too.
They do.
Yeah,
They
I
do.
think I saw that on their website.
they do.
That's great.
They got great stuff for kids. Actually, I wound up eating this donut that was definitely meant for like a 4-year-old, but it was outstanding. But it had cereal on top.
I've seen those,
Have you
like
seen
Fruit
those?
Loops.
Yeah. This particular one, it had what's Lucky Charms. But hey, you know,
They're
well,
magically
feel like a
delicious.
kid.
Was it just the marshmallows though? Because when I eat Lucky Charms,
It was just the marshmallows.
that's a good donut right
They have
there.
several different kinds. Yeah, it was fantastic.
She knows her
anyways,
stuff.
Yeah.
She- you
They
know.
do upscale things too, but you know, you bring the kids in, then you get them a cereal donut, or you know, if you're pregnant, you want a cereal donut, you do it.
Let her have the donut.
That's right.
Cravings on this lady.
So we'll talk to her. She's great.
Sure. And when we're going to have to head out for just a commercial break, but when we come back, we'll have Kahlal Cunninghan from Madison Geeks, our favorite geek for sure.
Yeah.
With our technology questions, and maybe yours too. You're able to email them to Madison Geeks. Is it girltalk@madisongeeks.com?
Yep,
Did we
that's
get
it.
that right? So stay tuned and meet Kahlal, and then if you have your questions, you can send them in, and we'll get them next time we have him on. We'll be right back with more Girl Talk.
Welcome back to Girl Talk. We've got an exciting segment. We've got Kahlal with Madison Geeks. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you. We always find so much good information because we all have computers, we all have smartphones. So we're going to be going over technology tips and tricks. And can you just refresh us real quick on Madison Geeks? What do you do?
Of course. Well, we are a technology solutions provider. We bring solutions to both residential and small businesses. This is everything from wireless support, virus support, new custom-built computers. Small businesses also have sometimes 5 to 20 machines that they need support on. Instead of having an internal IT guy, we're able to provide, that IT service for them.
Wonderful. You do it all.
And I know we've talked about this before. It doesn't make it any less relevant or any less scary for that matter. But can you remind us a little bit about scams and internet scary things out there?
There's a lot of them, and unfortunately this is something that comes up almost daily. It can be, a small business owner that's clicking on an email from FedEx and they think it's legitimate. It has the FedEx logo on it. It can be just yesterday I had a lady who was recently scammed over the phone who had gotten a PayPal notice come through that said that her account was deactivated. And she uses that heavily. So she proceeded to go through it. She called the 1-800 number. She gave them everything but her social security. That's when she kind of clicked like, wait, why do they need this information? So it's dangerous, and these are these are coming in from around the world. So you're feeding your information too.
So you mentioned that FedEx email. If it's got their logo on it, what does it want you to click on that you should maybe be apprehensive about? Like, why do I have to take this extra step?
Exactly. Anything can try to fraud you into thinking it's that website or that company. So the trick that I've been telling my users is to, instead of going through the links in the email, if it's a message from FedEx or your bank or credit card, just go to the website. Say, okay, I see that they notified me, but just go to their website.
Go to your account.
And go to your account, and if there's a message there, you'll see that. If you have any questions, you can give them a call. You interact with those links, who knows where they're redirecting, and that's where most people get themselves in trouble.
Yeah,
I've been getting IRS ones lately.
Right, that's true.
They're going to get you where they assume, they're going to throw it out there to 100%, and all they need is, 10% of people actually going through it, and they scam.
It's tough when those names look legit. You see American Express and UPS and FedEx, and it's not just emails too. There's telephone calls from Microsoft and things like that. So what can small businesses do to be a little more savvy about these things?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is to be able to get a hold of a geek and just ask questions. Of course, we're available for that. But the biggest issue is going to be, making sure everybody in the company is aware. If they're not aware, then the receptionist or someone who, your office manager, someone who's outside of the main management but might have access to accounts, is able to feed that information to them, and we see that quite a bit as well. And that can dominate the whole business, their server, their internal information, and that can be very devastating for a company.
Sure. So you had spoke last time about training your battery. Can you refresh me on that?
Yeah, real quick. Training your battery is, there's a concept of draining your battery all the way and bringing it back up again, and that was for the older batteries. They're nickel batteries, nickel-based batteries. And now we use lithium batteries, and those don't need to be trained as much. They can just be plugged in and powered up and ready to go. So, the concept has kind of continued on from the older battery type, and it's just not necessary anymore. But one big thing that I've been recommending to my laptop users is, I have a lot of users that use laptops primarily, always plugged in. If you could always have it plugged in, you can just take the battery out, if it can come out. Not all can come out. But take the battery out, set it aside, and if that is the case, maybe take it out when it's at 50 or 60%, not fully charged, and that way it's not going to degrade as quickly. So just a couple tricks on that.
With regard to the phones, our smartphones and the batteries, I think I've heard something where it says do shallow discharges but full charges. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, shallow discharges. It doesn't. I mean, again, those are still kind of based off the nickel-based batteries.
What's a shallow discharge?
So it's not letting it go all the way up to zero.
Okay.
So you can kind of drop it down to 15, 10%.
Okay.
Or maybe not get it that low. But with the lithium batteries, which are the new ones, you can just let it,
you could be
charge
anywhere?
whenever you want to charge it. Yeah.
Really? And
good information.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have to think about it that much,
Right, right. But sometimes you get trouble with it, you know, where it'll just shut off if it's like at 30%. But thank you for answering our questions.
Thank you for having me again.
Always time goes so fast with you here.
Our favorite geek.
Yeah. So check out MadisonGeeks.com. If you have any questions, just get a hold of Kahlal. And we're going to be right back with Rosie's Coffee Bar and Bakery right here on CW57's Girl Talk.
Hi, and welcome back to Girl Talk. We're here with Coz Skaife from Rosie's Coffee Bar and Bakery. She's located on Monona Drive, kind of near the high school, right? Mm-hmm. What you said? Well, it's so nice to have you on. I'm very interested in your shop. Why did you name it Rosie's?
Well, I named it after my mom, and so because my parents passed away, that's how we had the money to do it. And we have a mission statement to leave the world a little sweeter than we found it, because we're bakeries, so we want to be sweet, and we want to be sweet to customers and sweet to employees, and kind of do something nice to pay it forward in her name.
Oh, that is so fabulous. I love that.
Thank you.
It's a nice way to have gotten started and kind of carry on that family feel, but it's just a really, I don't know if you ladies have been, I've been over there and I've fallen in love with Rosie's. It's such a great place, and I'm interested because you have this great coffee bar now, but you have a scratch bakery too. So tell us a little bit of background. How did you get started baking?
Well, I started doing cake decorating with a Wilton at-home cake decorating class, and then I ended up doing my husband's cousin's wedding cake, who's an accountant for Ovens of Brittany, and Ovens of Brittany people were at the wedding, and I got offered a job. But I didn't know how to bake, and so the mother-in-law of the owner said, "You have the hard part down, you can decorate." And so she taught me. So I always say I'm grandma trained, but she wasn't my grandma, but her name was Pat Hafner, and she was very special to me.
Very
so she taught me.
Grandma bakery training.
Thank you. Thank you.
I see a movie is in order.
There we go. That's right. I love it. Yeah, lots of fun and gorgeous things that you guys turn out over there. It's not only delicious, but just beautiful things.
I looked at the website. It should come with a warning label because everything looks so fantastic. The cakes look amazing. Everything looks great.
Yeah.
You also are a barista, is that right? And can I verb that? How did you learn or to barista?
Well, it was really fun. How we started was there was a bar in the space, and I'm like, well, what do you do with a bar and a bakery? And so then I knew Michael and Laura Johnson of JBC Coffee Roasters, and Laura had said to me, well, let's make it a coffee bar. And so I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea how much went into coffee, so I train all the time over at JBC. Just 3 weeks ago, I was there making lattes for 5 hours, and I feel everything that I know about coffee, I have learned it from JBC Coffee Roasters, and I feel that they do a great job, and they really trained me well, and I feel that I do a good job.
Yeah, and it's really neat. You were kind of telling me the other day how true coffee lovers are really flocking there now because of the outstanding product that you have and the equipment too.
Yes.
You have some really high-end, nice equipment. So I mean, it's the best coffee.
Yeah, you had mentioned something about that this morning.
Yeah,
what kind of equipment are you holding on to?
I was bragging on your coffee equipment.
Well, I did everything that Michael told me to do, and he told me what equipment to purchase. And so we have the T3 Simonelli for our espresso machine. That's the same one that they use in the World Latte Art Championships.
It sounds impressive.
Yeah. And then we have, you know, the Malconen grinders and the grind patterns, so that when you grind the coffee, you have the coffee flakes are all of similar size instead of all different, and that affects the taste of your coffee.
Oh, see,
there's like a whole science behind the coffee making. I didn't even know, but coffee lovers out there, like your true coffee lovers, know this stuff.
They can tell.
They can tell.
They can tell just by walking in.
It's interesting.
So, Coz, when did you open Rosie's?
Last year, February, so it was February 21st.
Okay, so you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're a new business owner. What have you learned? What have you come across? So can you tell us some some things, some wisdom?
I think well, I work a lot of hours. That's rough. But I think that the neatest thing that I have come out of it is I got to pick and choose who I get to be around with. I love the staff that I work with, and I love so many of the regular customers that we have, and just like people that I would have never met ever, ever, ever. Had I not done this. And that's been really rewarding.
That you get to choose
we would have
to
never
be
met.
around. Yeah,
If
and
I
we would have,
hadn't done-
yes, absolutely.
So,
and I want to mention before we go, we're already almost out of time, but because you do so many things, you also have a wonderful food business. I mean, you do a wonderful breakfast and lunch. How long have you been doing in the food industry altogether?
33 years.
33 years of
This woman does it all.
She does. I mean, it is just the greatest, not to overly brag on you, but it's just such a cool place, and I've just totally fallen in love with it. Amazing food, great coffee, and just what a great bakery. Yeah,
Oh, it was so terrific
Congrats.
to meet you. Yeah, there you have it. Go check out Rosie's Cafe Bar and Bakery, Monona Drive, near the high school.
Last but not least is our favorite go-to guy for our car questions. This is Joe Conant from CONANT Automotive out in Stoughton. Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Thank you.
We have car questions. I know I've had a burning car question. I kind of hope my dad's not watching. I keep getting my check engine light, no kidding. And the most recent, it goes on and it goes off, and that's the hard part. And so the other day, it went on, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna take care of this thing once and for all, and I made the appointment. And I'm quite literal here. I got in my car and pulled out of the driveway, and it went off.
Okay.
And I've been told that you can't even diagnose it if it goes off. So talk to us about the check engine light.
Yes.
Okay, the biggest thing with a check engine light on is it happens when you're coming home from work at 5 o'clock at night. And it can be frustrating because you don't know what's going on. You don't know if you're going to make it home. You don't know if it's going to start the next morning.
Or if you should drive or stop or...
So a lot of shops, and especially what we do, is like if a customer calls up and my check engine light's on, we'll say, come on down. We'll scan it to see the severity of the code, because that's what's stored in the computer of the vehicle. And what we'd use is a tool like this, which is like a $50 code reader. And a lot of like parts stores will do this, offer this, like come and read, we'll read the codes for free. This is not a diagnostic tool, and a lot of people think that it is, so they'll think they'll be able to fix their car with this, or the parts store is going to be able to sell them a sensor or whatnot. This will tell you how bad the code is and if you can drive the car. So then you can set up the appointment. So then we would note the code, and then you can be on your way, set up the appointment for a day or two later. And then when you come in, we would use, everything is going laptop. Let me turn it around. Whereas old days, which I should say, the last 20 years, you would get a big red box that would be a scanner, they would call it. Well, nowadays everything is being software, where we buy the software from the OE manufacturers and put it on the laptop. So we can touch basically 90% coverage out there. And that's how you diagnose a check engine light.
Are you talking coverage of the vehicle or like different makes and models?
Coverage of the car line, like General Motors, Ford, Chrysler,
Okay.
European, the Asian. I mean, we can take care of all of them. And
So-
most shops can.
So in my situation where the light went off, can you still do it?
Because the computer still has that stored in the system.
Oh, really?
Like you could drive the biggest mistake people make is let the check engine light go. And the
We all look at each other, guilty.
the thing is you got one little light bulb that tells you, the computer, that it sensed a fault, that, okay, the computer can store maybe 350 different codes. So when that light comes on, let's say it's just a real simple thing like a gas cap's faulty. Okay, you let that go. I don't have time to fix it. Well, 2 months later, that light's still on. You're thinking that it's a gas cap. Well, then it's this problem. And another week later, it's
You
this
don't
problem.
even realize that's something else.
So
is
that
occurring.
instead of being a $50 repair, the first time to get that light off, you come in a year later and it's a $600 repair.
Right, because you think it's that first small incident.
Right.
Wow.
So that's very important. That light should never be on. It should always be off. Even though somebody read it with a code reader or whatever, a scanner, and oh, we'll put that off. Well, tomorrow, you know, we're going to fix it tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes, and then I run into that a lot, and it's not nice to give a customer an estimate for $600, $700, $800.
No, it's not nice at all.
No, always have that light off.
So the on-off doesn't mean we're in the clear when it's off.
No.
Right.
No.
And the thing is, when that light comes on, it could be something real simple, like I said, a gas cap, or it could be something more severe. The biggest thing is when the check engine light flashes, that means something needs to be fixed immediately.
Okay, flashing.
And that means that something expensive could fail if you continue driving with it flashing.
Are you listening?
Yeah, certainly
That's
am,
the
yeah.
biggest thing.
Absolutely.
But the majority of shops out there, if you call them up and say, yep, my check engine light's on, a lot of shops should say, yep, come right in, we'll read the code quick, note it down, and then we can schedule you in. That's the best way to do it. That way, you know what's going on. Instead of sleeping, you know, going to bed at night wondering what's wrong with your car, you can have a little peace of mind, and that's the important thing.
And let's talk a little bit about the scheduling process. So when we call to tell you something's wrong with our vehicle, what kinds of information do you want when we're calling to make an appointment? What does that look like for you?
We like it. I'm glad you asked that. We like it when people call up and say, okay, my car is doing this, it happens at this time when I'm turning or when I'm driving, it's making this noise, and so on. It's so nice when people, and I'll say females, call up and say that. And then it's so much easier to work with.
Because we don't know what's wrong.
Well,
we just know what
Well, my
noise it
boyfriend
makes.
said it was this, and my dad said it was this, and you don't want any
And
of that.
sometimes they can be right, but a lot of times people will go on the computer and Google search, and that's when it really gets crazy, because then they're making all these assumptions, either what it's going to take to fix it. And a lot of I would say a lot of the males that call up will tell you what's wrong with the car
Instead of
or
the
the truck or
symptoms.
whatever. And for instance, and I hope I don't make this customer mad at me, because it's kind of funny. The customer called up and said, how much for the exhaust system on my truck? Well, okay, instead of, if the way the scenario should have went, Joe, my truck is making a lot of noise. I think it's from the muffler or whatever. Can I get in and have you guys give me an estimate? Sure, no problem. No, it went to, how much for my exhaust system on my truck? Well, then I shot him a number. Well, it's going to cost you probably about $1,500 to $2,000. And he went silent, and I said to him, well, we're looking at exhaust manifolds, we're looking at catalytic converter, we're looking at, you said exhaust system. And I was being kind of smart, but I guess that's my personality, and yeah, he's coming in and we're going to inspect his exhaust, and it's probably going to be a quarter of that. So
So you're one, well, and I would actually appreciate an overestimate versus an under, so that's nice. But you're wanting the symptoms of what's happening with your vehicle.
And let you do the diagnosing.
And let you do let the expert do the work.
Well, we'll have to bring you back, because I know we always have more questions.
Thanks,
I
guys.
know, we didn't even get to mine.
We're out of time. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe Conant from Conant Automotive in Stoughton. And that's it for today. Thanks to all of our guests. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Girl Talk.